We'll be live any minute. All right. I think we are live. Hi, hello, good evening, good morning from wherever you guys are joining in. My name is Shantanu. I'm a part of the DevRel team at Zencoder. I have Pablo with me today, and we are going to cover a super interesting topic today, which is workflows with Zencoder. So workflows again are a pretty, tight knit thing with Zencoder, and I would love Pablo to throw more light about what they are, how they work, and showcase a very quick demo about how workflows work, in Zencoder. So before we begin, before we jump in, Pablo would love to know more about you. I know people love you on the stream, but for people who are joining in new for the first time, would love a quick short intro, and then we can kickstart.
Short intro to me, you mean, Santano?
Sorry?
Or you mean short intro about me? Or about the...
About
nice
you.
Oh,
So
nice.
people love you on the stream, and I
Yeah,
think a quick short intro for the new folks would be super amazing.
absolutely. Nice to meet you, everyone, for the new joiners or from the usual joiners. Name is Pablo. I work with Santanu, working on the go-to-market team for Zencoder. And I always love chatting with Santanu because I always learn something new. Today we're going to be talking about workflows. I'm familiar that there was a previous of these sessions that you did, 1 or 2 sessions back, in which you talked about the most basic workflows that are available in the Zenflow app from Zencoder. Maybe sometimes you can kick us off with those as the starting point. That would be great also for me to understand what has been shared, what people might have as the foundational knowledge. And then we can kick it off into talking about what is a custom workflow, in which cases might you want to use it, and then we'll go ahead and do one for ourselves. How does that sound?
Yep, sounds perfect to me. So I can throw a quick light about what workflows essentially are and how integral they are with Zenflow in general, and not just Zenflow, with even the Zencoder IDE plugins that you see out there, right? So they're pretty much embedded. I mean, if you put those workflow files in the right directory, they're detected by your IDE plugins, and they're also pretty much detected by your Zenflow. So, and as Pablo just mentioned, we'll be talking more about what custom workflows are. So, just to give you a short gist, and I'll hand it over the rest of the introduction to Pablo. So, custom workflows, they essentially let you design additional task template that are beyond the 4 built-in that comes shipped with Zenflow. So, with Zenflow, you see a quick change, fix a bug, spec and build, and full SDD workflow. These are the pre-defined templates that we ship with. And now with that, we also have super interesting custom workflows wherein you can put down your tailored workflows for a specific task that you want to get started with. So we have a specific directory which is .zencoder/workflows, where all of these super magic, super interesting workflows reside. So won't take much time. Pablo, the stage is all yours. Would love to hear your thoughts on workflows, and the rest is all yours.
I'm going to be sharing my screen. Santanu, please confirm on your end that you see it. I'm going in right now. Appreciative if you can confirm.
And yeah, done.
Okay, so I just want to share with the audience that this is one thing that got me Twitter famous last week, which was building a little game of a pelican riding a bicycle. This was building on top of an existing meme in the community, which is that whenever there's new models coming up in the industry, there's this person, it's an expert in the industry that tests the new models by asking them to generate an SVG of a pelican riding a bicycle, no? And so since last week we got Opus 4.6 and GPT 3.5.3 codex. He once again tested the models by asking them to create the pelican of a bicycle. But I thought, you know what, like models today are way more powerful. So how about we make them create a game of a pelican riding a bicycle? And so I used Zenflow to create that game, and you can play it. We can share the link in the comments, maybe Santanu, while I'm talking. Basically, you just play the game of the pelican riding the bike. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is that I built it using Zenflow, which is the new app from Zencoder that allows you to get much better results from coding agents. And so This is my project in Zenflow in which I built this game. I did not touch neither the code, neither an standard IDE environment in I was seeing files. Instead, I was working completely in this environment of Zenflow, the app. It's a desktop app. Um, and how it works is that whenever you want to add something new to your project, you want to create something, you create a new task either from here, the button, or you select one of these presets, which is going to take us to the exact same place. And then you select from workflows, and we are providing you 4 workflows that come by default out of the box. And those, I believe, are the ones that Santa introduced to you the other day. One for a quick change, one for fixing a bug, one for doing a quick spec document and building, and another one for a more in-depth, full spec-driven development workflow, in which what's going to do is going to write the requirements, then write some technical specification, and then write some detailing planning phases. So basically like the truly heavy duty type of SDD workflow. And so hopefully this illustrates well what is a workflow. So a workflow is different from, imagine that you have something that you want to add to your project. You want to add authentication. That's the what, is what you want to do. The workflow is a how. It's basically how do you want to go ahead in the development process. And with these presets, what we're doing is we're sort of pre-filling some of that how for you, so that you don't need to retype it and rewrite it every time. So for example, right now, let me delete it because I was playing with it earlier. Imagine that I wanted to add to my little pelican game a Mexican hat. No, so imagine that I want to give the pelican a Mexican hat. So what I would do is I would go into spec and build, for example, and I would say Mexican hat, and I would say I'm going to use voice transcript. Let's add a Mexican hat on top of the head of the pelican. And then I just go, I could click on auto start steps, but just for the purpose of showing you how it works, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to create and run. And so you can see that already it knows that it has 2 steps. That first is going to write the specification, and then it's going to go into implementation. And where is that coming from? That's coming from the workflow. That's coming from the fact that I had selected spec and build, and spec and build comes out of the box with those 2 fundamental steps, which is first you write the spec, then you go and implement. Let's wait a bit and follow along the agent to see. I think this one is going to be like a quick one, because obviously I tried it earlier just to make sure that I offered you everyone like a smooth journey of seeing the agent doing something, actually something for real. Let's give it some time. So right now what it's doing is it's creating that spec.md file. I can always access my important files from this files tab here. And right now under artifact section, I have already that plan.md, which was like the original element that was created that separated the 2 steps of technical specification and implementation. And right now I just got this new document, the spec.md, and I can review it. I think it's an overkill for adding a Mexican hat or all that detail, but the more detail, the better. And because I had not clicked the auto start, now I'm given the option to start next step. One very interesting thing also that we get here is that we could review with another agent. This is a step. We will review the spec, the plan and the spec, and then we can also review it like manually, visually ourselves reading. I see that it's proposing to add via SVG. I'm fine with that. So basically, it's going to generate a Mexican hat with SVG. I'm just fine with that. And so directly from here, I would click on Start Next Step, and it would go into the implementation step. I want to double down on the concept, because the concept is the most important part. The reason why originally, when I simply gave the input of let's add a Mexican hat on top of the head of the pelican, and the reason why immediately it was already separated in 2 steps, technical specification and implementation, the reason why it did that is because I was coming from a workflow. I had selected the spec and build workflow, and the select and build workflow imposes those two steps. Like it's very important that you understand this concept, because then you will understand the power that comes with being able to create custom workflows, which is what we're going to go into later. For now, let me see this completing the execution. And by the way, one thing that it's also worth mentioning is that every time that we create one of these tasks, this is something that you're being told about it here. What we're doing is we're creating an isolated copy of your code base. We're using something that is called Git work trees. So basically, it's your code base as it was in the moment. A copy is created of it, and then the agent is working on that copy. That allows several agents to work in parallel and sort of not conflict with each other. There might be some conflict when you try to merge, because the agents might have edited files, but then the agent is going to help you with that merge when you click the merge button if it finds that there is some conflict. But by default, any new task that you create, it's actually the agent not working directly with your code base. It's actually working on one of those Git work trees. Okay, so I see that the agent is very close to finishing. I'm going to do one thing. I'm just going to go and say merge. I'm going to merge to main, and then I'm going to just say run it from main and let me test it locally, just so that we see the outcome. Okay, it says that the development server is in localhost. Let me see that. Actually, got some issue. I think it got confused of where it should be running it from. Or maybe I was running something in that server before. Yeah, that was the issue. I was running something before on the same one. Okay, it says it's running. So now we have the game, and now we have the pelican with the sombrero. It's going to be a bit harder to balance, because now it's not only a pelican, but also it has a sombrero. But let me try to get some decent distance here. Just bear with me for a second. This game is very addictive. Like it's a mix of this pelican thing with a game from my childhood, which was called Open Rider or something like that. 400 meters. I think it's decent, Santanu. Try if you can beat me later. But this was an overview of a workflow. Let me pause there, because I see that we are at halftime of the session. Let me pause there. Let's chat, Santanu, so far up until now, and then in the second half we can talk about custom workflows.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Pablo, for that quick short demo on the game that you just built. Yeah, I mean, talking about custom workflows, just wanted to understand from your perspective. I mean, let's assume a scenario now. So, for example, if I'm a team, if I'm a software engineering team, I lead it, and I have around a team of around 5 devs. So for me, who's managing like a fleet of developers, how convenient it is, how useful it is to have a custom workflow for development.
A custom development, a custom workflow for development is basically going to allow you to encapsulate and codify the practices that you might have been doing in your team that were sort of informal, sort of like up in the air, like sort of like maybe written in a wiki, or maybe captured in a Notion, or maybe like teams have a way of working, and teams and as projects get larger, teams typically have like a process for every new functionality or every new feature branch that is being worked on, they tend to have like a process with first we do this, then we do that, then we do this, and so the ability to create a custom workflow for your team that is going to appear here below the list of custom workflows for your team to select and work on it is basically allowing you to codify all that intangible knowledge from your organization that previously was just like just passed around orally or in some documents, or but now you're going to be able to actually enforce it. So basically whoever is building with AI coding agents, they're going to be able to use a custom workflow and basically have mandatory those steps that for you are required in your development process. That's the beauty of it. That's the value add.
I see. Got it. Thank you, Pablo. Would love to see a small custom workflow in action, if you don't mind. We can show the audience on how it looks like. And yeah.
Okay. Let's continue here. I'm going to do one thing, which is this Mexican hat. I'm going to pass it to Don, and then in this game you didn't see it because I was using my browser. But if I go to incognito mode, you see that in this game I'm asking the user to enter an email, no, like whatever email. I'm not doing any validation, but I'm asking people to enter their email just to avoid a bit of abuse on the server and whatnot. So imagine that we are now at the stage in which we want to do a security review. We could create a custom workflow that would have one step in that workflow, which is about reviewing security. And we could do it in a way that security review is actually added in every single step. So basically, it's not something that we do after the fact, which is what I was talking about. So I build something and then after the fact I review the security. We could embed it into the process, and we could do it according to how we do it in our org. Let me just point for the viewers where to find this information, because I'm going to be talking about it and I know how to do it, but just so that the audience knows where to find this. We have an FAQ button here in the app, and in the app you can click to see the full documentation, or you can go by topic. I'm going to click how workflows work, and then you're going to be able to see that to create custom workflow, what you're going to be doing is that you're going to be putting it in the folder at the user level .zenflow /workflows, and then you're going to it has a specific structure, the type of how you need to write for a workflow. So I'm going to copy the example, and then I'm going to open Finder. Let me open a new Finder at my home, and then I'm going to Zenflow and then workflows, and here's where you saw this custom workflow. This is the one that we were seeing here when we clicked on new task. It's because I have that one in there, but let me actually clone it, and I'm going to copy it and build. Let me call it build with security. I'm going to call the workflow build with security. I can just open with text edit. So the name goes here. So I'm going to call it build with security. And you can see here that I can enforce. Let me make this larger because folks might not be able to see. This is a bit tiny. So you can see that a couple of things that I can configure. One is the name of the workflow. In this case, I'm naming it build with security. Then I can also configure where the artifacts go. Just to tell people what artifacts are. When we were doing the Mexican hat thing, remember that we had this files tab, and in the files tab we had 3 documents which were important for this process. One was spec. The spec is generated at the beginning of the process. The plan comes afterwards. So once we know what we're going to build, well, actually, the plan gets detailed later with implementation phases from the spec. And then finally, the agent writes a report with what it did and how it was implemented and so on. So all these important documents, we call them artifacts. And so when you are creating a custom workflow, you can choose where the artifacts will go. And another thing that you can configure, and this is the most useful part, is the steps. Because I was using, when I was using one of those out of the box workflows, I was using spec and build. I had the steps of planning, and then I had the step of implementation. I had the step of review and wrap up. That's basically the default. But what I can do here is I can add one step of security review. And I'm going to actually copy the same formatting because that's how it works. I'm going to call it step security review. And here I could detail in as much detail as I wanted, and I could even point to some documents somewhere else how we do security reviews in our company. So in this case, I'm going to say make sure that emails are safe and cannot be accessed by a harmful external party. No, in this case, because we're asking for emails, we need to make sure. But for me to double down on the message, this is not a one-off. What I'm creating here is a workflow. It's something that is going to be reused. So every time that any people from my team use this workflow, by default, there will be this step of the security review. So if in my company it's important that we have this security review, then I will create a workflow and it will be reusable forever. That's the beauty of it. So with that, I just click save. Now I have, if I go back to that folder, I have that first custom workflow, and I see now that it has appeared in my list of custom workflow, this one of build with security. So I'm going to say beautify, is that a word? Beautify email request. So I'm going to start a new task, which is right now we're collecting emails. Let's make that screen in which we're collecting emails more beautiful. And in this one, I'm going to click auto start steps just to go a bit faster because I know that we're almost on time. I'm going to click create and run. And what I expect to see is that because I was using that workflow, which was the security review, it's going to have one step in the plan, which is going to be a security review. Let me just double check that I did the right thing. The task, build with security. Hold on 1 second. I'm not feeling well about this one because I'm not seeing it in the list. New task, build with security. Beautify email collection. We have a page in which we collect email. Try to make it look a bit nicer. And I have clicked the custom workflow build with security and just double down my work here. In that one, there is one step which is security review, and I'm following the formatting. So I'm going to hit create and run. And yeah, so basically the issue was that I had not refreshed, it had not picked it up. So you saw that I created a new task with the custom workflow, and in my custom workflow, I had defined that for me it's important to always have a security review step. And you see that I have it here. I didn't need to add it. It's there. It's there, and it's going to be done automatically. And because I clicked auto start next step, it's actually going to just fly through it. So now we can observe the agent Santanu, and while let's not wait for it, let's do like some final reflections. But basically, this is the beauty of custom workflows, which is that whatever you always do and you always want your team to do, you can codify, and then the agent will always follow that step. And that sort of converts coding into like from this type of black box in which you really don't know what's going on into like a more chartered path for your engineering team.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with just what Pablo said. A tailored path for your engineering team to follow on, be it anything security, auditing, testing, QA, anything that comes across the board. in your SDLC. That's something that you can pretty much put that down in your work, in your custom workflows. Having said that, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat in the comments and we'll pick it up. But if you're shy enough, you can post it out on our Discord, email us at support@zenco.ai. And meanwhile, this does that. Pablo, any final note before we say goodbye and close down for the day?
Final note is that we have tried very hard to make this easy to use. And we have added that FAQ that walks you through the process of how to do it. But we're fully conscious that we're the industry, not just us. We're moving at a very, very fast speed. So if you're listening to this and you like how this sounds, what this sounds like, but you feel a bit daunted with how to actually do it yourself, drop me a note. I'm very, very happy to jump into a half an hour session with you and actually walk you through it and help you configure one for your organization. I'm already doing it for teams that I work with more closely, helping them realize what they do typically that they have not even noted down, and helping them creating their own workflows. And I'm really, very happy to do that for you.
Awesome.
And
Once
so
again, yeah,
So,
sorry, Pablo.
sorry, sometimes just one quick comment.
Yep.
Hands of the keyboard. You can see that the security review is in progress. The AD is going to complete it, and that's because we included it into the custom workflow. So it's fully autonomous. It's going through the security review and it's doing it with the instructions that we had given it.
100%. Thank you so much once again, Pablo, for joining in and throwing light on custom workflows. I think this was super, super helpful. And yeah, once again, thanks everyone for joining in, staying tuned to the end of the demo. And yeah, I'll see you again in the next one. Next one, we are doing, again, the custom workflows, but little more tailored towards enterprises and talking how enterprises can essentially, automate that stuff in their SDLC life cycles. So once again, thank you so much. Stay tuned and I will see you in the next one. Till then, take care and bye.
Thank you.